them all. They're every single one of them. And not just the men, but the women. And the children, too. They're like animals, and I them like animals. I hate them.
Hello YouTube, this is the sequel to my previous video on how to fix Star Wars, The Phantom Menace. If you haven't watched that, then I suggest you to shut this off and watch that one first. Otherwise, you'll be slightly confused. Slightly is not the correct word for this, actually. And I would like to thank those who encouraged me to continue on. After looking at the lack of views and replies, I was starting to wonder if I should continue, but thanks to those nice comments, I guess I might finish my version of the prequel trilogy, just for the heck of it. The previous video's beginning was just a bad joke, like George Lucas turning into the dark side denialist. George Lucas never had any ideas like that. I thought people would get it, but some took it too seriously. So I'll just state the obvious. This is a fake video, so was the previous few. Pure fanfiction, or whatever fancy term you guys call it. I just call it my edited versions. This trilogy is a Shakespearean tragedy about a rise and fall of a hero. It's aimed for the children who grew up in the 70s with the original trilogy. The true original trilogy. Yeah, you're listening to a guy who's born when the special editions are released. I've never watched the true originals. I hope you'll enjoy it. I'll be making Revenge of the Sith. If you like this, please remember to like, favorite, and share it. Thousands of star systems had declared independence from the Republic and had united under the leadership of Darth Maul as the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Due to the strict restriction of battle droid manufacturing, some planets' economy was destroyed by this law, thus motivating them to join the Separatists. This uprising caused great unrest in the Senate because the Republic is unprepared for a full-scale war. The Separatists had formed a more organized body and in greater number compared to the last episode. The Jedi Order are still hunting down Darth Maul and the rumored droid factories, but without any leads.
The dark side clouds everything.
The Republic is no match against the battle-hardened droids. The clone army on Kamino was still incomplete to serve the entire galaxy. In deep space, the Trade Federation battleship had begun landing their front line of droids on Kashyyyk, a cold forest terrain, which explains why Wookiees are that furry. On the surface planet, we see Obi-Wan training Anakin, which expands more about the road of Padawan in preparation towards knighthood. We were also told the history about the Sith, where they had a ruthless empire ruled with an iron fist, killing and enslaving all oppositions. Nepotism and corruption was too much. In the end, the Siths turned on one and the other, which indirectly helped the Jedi who destroyed the Sith Empire. By the end of the training, Anakin constructed his first lightsaber through the use of the Force inside a crystal cave.
Your skills are complete.
At night, by the bonfire, Anakin suddenly had a vision. The Naboo palace was in flames with Darth Maul kneeling to Palpatine in front of it. Anakin told Obi-Wan about his vision. He translated that the Republic will be in grave danger of the dark side. Naboo will be in trouble. Obi-Wan then warned him to forget about this.
The future, by its nature, can be changed.
We will see how this plays out. Back on Coruscant, the current pacifist Chancellor of the Galactic Republic had returned. Take note, the current Chancellor was not Palpatine, since Palpatine's term had ended for a while, and many people missed the days when he was in charge. This nostalgia will blind people's logic and will trick them to give him more power in the future, so one day he'll be the Emperor. This Chancellor had returned from a goodwill mission to negotiate with separatist leaders on a neutral Huttese space zone, but without any success. He and a number of his advisors were blown up by a bounty hunter on the landing deck. This was a new crisis for the Republic. The assassination of the current Chancellor boiled a lot of senators and civilians' blood for war.
The rebellion will continue to gain support in the Imperial Senate.
The Imperial Senate will no longer be of any concern to us. I have just received word that the Emperor has dissolved the Council permanently. The last remnants of the old Republic have been swept away.
That's impossible. How will the Emperor maintain control without the bureaucracy?
The regional governors now have direct control over their territories.
Back on Kashyyyk, the full-scale invasion had begun. Obi-Wan found that it's an odd play for the Separatists to be invading Republic planets. Rather than creating a campaign of Free the Separatists, this might sever ties with the Republic. Innocent Wookiee citizens were getting shot down randomly. The two Jedi fought side by side like father and son. On their way back to the Wookiee village where they parked their ship, Anakin rescued Obi-Wan after he fell into a nest of man-eating Gundarks.
I haven't felt you this tense since we fell into that nest of Gundarks.
Anakin rescued some locals, but showed he have problems struggling with anger after seeing dead Wookiees. It gave him post-traumatic stress about what he saw in Naboo. He turned very vicious, even nearly killing a Nemodian officer until he was stopped by Obi-Wan, who saw that it was out of his character. The Nemodian escaped and Obi-Wan tried to reason with him while they were hiding away from more droid tanks. Anakin was under another personality called Avis.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force,
and tried to wake Anakin from the dark persona. Anakin then came back from the blackout after they realized the droids had the communications cut off from the Republic. Obi-Wan warned the locals to tell them go into hiding, use warriors or militia. He will report to the Jedi Council. Anakin initially wanted to stay behind to fight for the Wookiees and let Obi-Wan do the warning, but Obi-Wan needed a skilled pilot like him to get out of there alive.
He was the best star pilot in the galaxy, and a cunning warrior.
To add a nod back to Episode 4, Anakin was unable to understand the Wookiee language, but Obi-Wan accessed the language area of the Wookiee brain and was able to communicate with them through the use of the Force. This showed that the Force isn't just for fighting or fancy dances, but bears with many great wisdoms. Obi-Wan worries for Anakin's split personality, but they were forced to split up and meet again back to the Republic shuttle to protect as many Wookiees as possible. After Anakin took down a squad of droids all by himself, Anakin reached the Republic shuttle first. Anakin then contacted Obi-Wan. He told Anakin where to pick him up. The Wookiee warriors were magnificent, but the droid army's numbers were swarming like termites. As Anakin flew on the Republic shuttle to find his master, Obi-Wan encountered the leader who was in charge of this entire operation, General Grievous. The two dueled and Obi-Wan was no match against this impossible machine. It was so fast that Obi-Wan didn't have the chance to feel his enemies attack through the Force. There we see Grievous was a Jedi hunter. We see him ranting about how he hates Jedi during the duel. Grievous had the upper hand and Obi-Wan rolled off the edge to escape. Grievous mocked the Jedi and took Obi-Wan's lightsaber. He added it to the rest of his lightsaber collection. After Obi-Wan went free falling, the droids asked if they need to locate the Jedi. Grievous dismissed the droid and said this full-scale invasion is a message for the Republic about the might of the Separatists, and a message needs a messenger, and not some hologram memo. Falling through the abyss, Anakin rescued Obi-Wan in time. As the two Jedi were flying on the ship, they were still inside the giant forest with many branches covering the sky. After an intense chase scene throughout the forest, they both got into space. As they were about to enter hyperspace, the two saw a huge fleet of separatists exiting out of hyperspace in preparation to conquer the planet. Surviving the Kessel Run against the incoming fighters, they made the jump. Anakin bragged about his piloting skills. Obi-Wan said it seemed as if the separatists had let them go, as if to show they want the Republic to know about their invasion on Kashyyyk. Maybe it could be summarized by the following picture. They returned to Coruscant to report Kashyyyk's predicament. It appears a lot of systems were invaded according to the Jedi Council. They also received news about the Chancellor and his line of successors had been terminated on the same day. Many political figures and figureheads had been kidnapped by the Separatists as well. The Senate had been divided into extremists, Separatist apologists and those who opposed Separatists. The latter senators had been hunted down by a mysterious bounty hunter. Kashyyyk was the first planet to be taken over. The Wookiee leader had been forced to sign a treaty of recognizing Separatist sovereignty. There was a power vacuum in the Senate. As the entire Chancellor line of succession had been terminated, due to the lack of leadership, the Republic acted slowly on how to deal with the invaded planets. Palpatine, who was the current Naboo senator's advisor and previous Chancellor, gave a speech about how the Senate can restore security, justice, and prosperity back to the galaxy by sacrificing a little freedom to fight for the greater good. The Senate was touched by his speech, and he had dealt with separatists in the past, so he was elected as the Chancellor again. As Palpatine's first act, he immediately asked the Senate to vote to allow militia of neighbors of the invaded planets to send aid at once. This was a nod to the last film where the Senate was too slow in responding to Naboo's invasion. As for the clone army of stormtroopers, it's not completed yet, thus no help could be sent from Kamino yet. The local militia won't be enough to defend their respective planet. The Senate wants the Jedi to be involved in war, but the Council refused.
We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
I can't fight a war for you.
The invasions of each planet was still not dealt with. The Republic stated that once they have the clone army ready, they can help out the invaded planets. The report on the neighboring planet's militia to aid Kashyyyk was a failure. Forces that tried to liberate the planet retreated, and Separatists had successfully secured their grip on the planet and able to defend it like one of their own. Trade routes are now sabotaged. The Separatists had officially declared war on the Republic for sending in militia to take back Kashyyyk. The Separatists are killing Wookiees and enslaving them. The Separatists also warned either the Republic planets join them or they will be taken by force, be enslaved or destroyed. According to a Kamino representative, the communication systems of Kamino was cut from the Republic. They were unable to successfully deliver their troops to Kashyyyk in time. If conspiracy theories were true, the damaged communication relays could be an inside job, or done by a spy, or a mysterious bounty hunter that lives there. Back in the Jedi Temple, Anakin met Padme, who is now a representative of the Jedi Council on the Senate. She's closely working with the Jedi, doing it to gain more experience at the Senate, to pay her respects to the Jedi, and become a better down-to-earth possible leader of Naboo in the future. Anakin warned Padme about her planet, but she placed it aside since the neighboring systems in the area had signed a pact. If one of the planets are invaded, the others will step in to help. We'll also see a familiar face.
Oh, nice to see a familiar face. Ichuta. How rude.
C-3PO was used as part-time secretary for the admission of the Jedi Council, who was Padme's helper. Padme and Anakin are starting to have a flirty relationship, but Anakin have to hold back, because he's a Jedi, not a womanizer. During Obi-Wan's training with Yoda, he mentioned that Anakin is viable and as competent as a Jedi Knight rank, but warned him about the training in the Force created a dark duality, calling himself Avis. Anakin had been unnaturally suppressing his anger and hate by the Force, rather than letting those emotions go. By suppressing those emotions through the Force, it accumulated itself within the dark side, making it grow stronger and possibly one day might take over. This training scene also showed that Obi-Wan knows about all the Jedi Master level training because he just finished the ways to become a Jedi Master by Yoda. This was like a remedial and a final test. It showed different levels of Jedi ways, Anakin towards knighthood, and Obi-Wan toward masters, and Yoda trained masters. Even though Anakin is still a Padawan and not a knight, Obi-Wan highly recommend Anakin to be taught by the ways to become a master, so that he can learn about the Force, not just by knight level, but by master's level to better control his emotions. It was highly unorthodox. Only a Jedi Knight rank given to one, then one can continue to learn and become a Jedi Master. Anakin is ready to be trained as a master because his skills had acquired faster than any Jedi. If he keeps on getting more powerful and yet ignorant about the Force, he could fall into the dark side easily. After a debate within the Council, deciding whether Anakin should become a knight or not, the Council finally agrees that Anakin should not be a knight yet, but trained by Yoda in the Master level. Yoda agreed to it, for he's the wisest, the most experienced in training Jedi Masters. The Council begrudgingly accepts it, only because they fear the Chosen One might fall to the dark side. Anakin also reported about his vision about Naboo, but the Council said that the dark side clouds everything. They can't sense the Sith properly, even though Anakin could see through the dark side fog. Most of the Council disagreed with his prediction, but May stated that they should at least have the courtesy to warn Naboo. Others disagreed, stating that Anakin is deluded by his dark counterpart. After the meeting, Anakin showed more frustration towards the Council, held back his anger, but unleashes it out when he was alone with Obi-Wan.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
He finds the Council weak and incompetent, like not doing a proper follow-up on Qui-Gon's death. Obi-Wan warned Anakin about his duality Avis, fearing Avis will take over. Obi-Wan stated that he believes in Anakin and someday he will become a great Jedi Knight. He just needs patience. Obi-Wan knows that the Council is doing it for his interest, but Anakin just can't wait to be a knight. Anakin complained if there wasn't a disobedient young Padawan in the past, he would have been knighted. He explained to Obi-Wan about Shmi Skywalker. She was around the same age as Anakin or even younger. Shmi Skywalker was the youngest Jedi Padawans who were about to be knighted after her trials, but had gone missing before she attended the ceremony. Anakin visited Palpatine to show their friendship. Palpatine spoke lowly of the Jedi and was disappointed at how they treated Anakin. It seemed like Palpatine was trying to turn Anakin against the Jedi. Anakin then told Palpatine about his visions and he plans on visiting Padme again. But Palpatine told him she returned back home to celebrate the anniversary of Naboo's liberation from the Trade Federation on a few years back. He will also be on his way to celebrate the festival.